All right. Good morning. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Was able to get some rest and prepare for this week. How's everybody doing? All right. Lots of happy good mornings, lots of energy today. Good. All right. So, today is Monday, April 26, 2021. My name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we're starting off with our SPY overview, and we do have a weekly close. So we'll take a look at our weekly chart. We've seen a lot of upward pressure in the markets. Markets have given us very little in the way of pullbacks and have seemed to continuously go up, up, and up over the course of the past couple of weeks. Last week, it is notable that we stayed within a relatively tight range. So you had the previous week's action, and then you had last week's action. The two of them are basically self-contained. And if we look at the weekly perspective, we see that over the course of last week, the market actually opened and closed around the same price. So while we did have some volatility, we had a couple sessions where we would go up in a trend day fashion. Next day, we basically give it all back. And then Friday, we came all the way back up. So nice range, nice up and down price action. But as far as movement and where price ended up landing, we are stuck in a range. And the weekly chart shows it pretty well, given that we haven't really gone anywhere. So perspective is important for the weekly. We need to know that while the market remains strong, last week's performance was not something that indicated higher prices. We simply saw a lot of volatility, a lot of intraday sessions, both up and down. And that led us to a pretty much flat weekly candle. As we look into our daily, we do see that on the daily, we do have a new intraday all-time high, but we do not yet have a close above all-time high. So at this point in time, while we are testing the upper bounds of where this market has gone in the past, we have not closed above, and we have not shown yet that price is going to lose some of our lower support levels. And those are pretty easily seen with some of the volatility last week, where we started to back test this level, and this is where the market had held in the past. So we have this area of interest up here where the market currently is trapped. We're getting moves to the upside, moves to the downside, back and forth, testing, testing, testing. But overall, we haven't seen the breakout. And this breakout can occur in either direction. So we want to obviously remain aware of when that breakout does occur. And if it occurs, we want to see how it reacts. Are we breaking through and then closing above or below? That could easily trigger a little bit more downside momentum or upside momentum. Are we getting to that level and then going through it and then coming back? Well, then maybe we're still stuck in the range, and that was simply a test. Basically a breakout and fail, a look above and fail, look below and fail. You would obviously want to come to the other side of your range and back test it once again, based on some simple range rules. So market seems to be deciding which direction it wants to take, and we have this clear area of all-time high and recent lows from past weekly session to basically gauge whether or not it's going to continue up or will it give us a deeper pullback. Overall, a lot of our shorter time frames still show bullish context. We have our 4-hour showing us 20, 5200, all sloping up, all of them supporting the price. Even during some of that volatility, we would barely peak below the 50 moving average in this time frame, and then we'd rise back above. So that range is holding, but once again, we haven't seen necessarily the trend action that we saw in previous weeks, making it a little bit more challenging to get directional momentum and follow through as opposed to, past sessions. Right now, we're being a little bit more short-term mindseted, where we get this nice move to the upside and then this nice return back to the downside, albeit with some volatility mixed in between. And during this time, as the market sits here, we are building value. So the market stuck in this range means that market participants are saying market wants to go higher, and then all of a sudden, nope, market wants to go lower, market wants to go higher. Balance of power, and hence the name balance in the market. We are balancing in this area. It is a wide range, but it is balance. And we can see the shelves where if the market were to lose this low, it could facilitate a sharp move down to our next shelf of value, which is about 406. A move above, we're seeing that there is sort of this sloping area. And if we can break above, we could start to essentially knock out stops for anyone who is short. And that can lead to just that general trending action where every price move higher will start to maybe potentially trigger more stops and bring in more bulls to the market, like people who want to join in the trend. So we do have some context within the volume profile of we're in this range. We have a shelf here, which is a major level that we do not want to lose to the downside. But if we do, we fall in the pocket and we hit our next shelf. And then if we move above, we want to see that just be facilitated by slow grinding action where stops are slowly getting triggered out and bulls are starting to actively participate once again to the upside move. And that's essentially what we have for this week. We want to keep that in mind. We have clear ranges to work with on the SPY. As we are still in between them, let's just go ahead and see what sort of price action we're getting, and are we starting to look more bullish or continuously back testing and failing, potentially leading to a more downside move as the lower range will eventually start to fall apart at that point. Looking across the way, let's go to our QQQ. We'll see that in the Qs, starting with the weekly chart, technically we did not make a new all-time high on the weekly last week. We actually ended up being slightly lower than the previous week. And you can see that price action is similar to the SPY, where we did have volatility, but overall the week provided mostly up and down action with not a lot of clear directionality. We had some days up, we gave some of it back, ended the week around the price that we opened. So lots of back and forth, lots of balance that can lead to, overall harder price action for traders. But there is opportunity if you can read these ranges and start to find levels that are well respected, both to the upside and the downside. You simply play those levels until one breaks. And if you're in the right direction, you maybe get some follow through. If you're not, then obviously you stop out quickly and you avoid a larger move to the downside or the upside, depending on your direction. So clear ranges in both the SPY and the Qs. We can see the weakness here in the Qs. This lower range is not sitting at all-time high. So the Qs are having trouble back testing that recent all-time high. And we also haven't really closed very strongly above the recent all-time high sitting here. So as we're kind of sitting here, markets are trying to choose, is this move a little overblown? And do we need a deeper pullback, especially as we come into this week, which is a large earnings week? Or are we simply balancing building support for that breakout? And so far, we haven't seen that clear signal yet. What's good about this perspective, though, is as this consolidation occurs, the 20 moving average is coming up to facilitate support. And if we see a reaction off that 20, that may lead to the range breakout that we are anticipating. Starting on the 4-hour, we can see a little bit of a tight range and very clear level definition here. We see that well defined with some of these larger moves to the upside and the downside. The 20 and the 50 crossing between each other, not a lot of clear directionality. We do have a sloping 200, so the overall context is still bullish, but obviously consolidation leads to a little bit of less definition in terms of price directionality. So we have to wait until this range breaks, and obviously that can facilitate a larger move. As we get into our volume profile, the picture is similar to the SPY, where we do have balance. Looks like a lot of value is being placed right around 335 to 336. A loss of this does have a pocket, but the downside does have a shelf that we can work off of around 331. So the downside is just a couple of dollars away in terms of this indicator, but overall that shelf should react in some way. It would be a very rare occurrence for the market to simply cut through that area without some sort of major reaction. You want to think of something like a big inflection point, some sort of V bottom, at least intraday, or at the very least sit at that price, consolidate, and then once again choose a direction with a range that can be defined for the breakout. So that's our downside perspective. We do have another slight shelf near the upper end of the range. That's going to be sitting around 339 to 340. A breakout there or a break below, just using range rules, we want to essentially project the width of this range and double it. And that would bring us roughly to the recent all-time highs, albeit a little bit higher. And then the downside would be somewhere close to 330. So we have a range, roughly $5 range, upside potential and downside potential on the breakout or breakdown, depending on which one we get. Looking at IWM, our final perspective that we want to take into this week. So IWM, a little bit of a roller coaster ride last week, but we are seeing on the weekly the potential for the 20 moving average to act as an area of support. This is something we noted last week where the daily actually looked a bit bearish. But if we pulled back to the weekly, we noticed that the weekly was simply offering another back test of a potential support, dynamic albeit, and albeit is moving average. So it's, based on market participants using it as support. But overall, this back test is pretty clear. We had a nice reaction higher, and prices not only closed slightly higher on the week, but we also have sort of a battle-tested range where prices came all the way down and bulls were able to defend and actually close this index higher. So really strong reaction off of IWM, albeit in a more volatile week with some of the price action on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll see that more clearly on the daily, where we saw this bull flag, very muted breakout. We noticed that this was not moving very often with the market headed to all-time highs in other areas. We saw a breakdown of this bull flag that sort of negated the structure. And then we pulled back to the weekly and saw that that reaction off the 20 was quite strong. That led to the higher prices and the reversal in this perspective. So, short term, that is obviously a good sign. We want to see if the IWM is going to leverage that bounce and potentially become a leader while other indices are going through more volatile periods with things like earnings. So IWM has the potential here to clear this level as we were sitting right at it, essentially at a triple test with, well, setting the level, first back test, second back test. If we break above this level, we can get some momentum and we could facilitate once again a range expansion back to all-time highs and potentially even higher, as this range is a little bit wider than the upside potential from this area. So 4-hour chart, we see that moving averages are starting to cross once again, facilitating some of the upward price. We see the very clear definition of areas that this market wants to break through. And we also see this sort of general downtrend that the market is starting to breach above. We've already back tested this area and we're starting to clear this higher area after the first breakout. So we have horizontal resistance, but we also have sort of a retracement look, and we have a breakout in the structure of a pennant. So amidst all this volatility, different patterns have been forming. We see that the range of this market, excuse me, the range of this market has been tightening. And as it has tightened, we've built energy. That energy has so far moved this market higher. And that pattern is starting to look more like a breakout, where we have a downside move, we have sort of an upside support, we're getting tighter and tighter in this range, and then we get that nice breakout. So we will see if this continues. You know, once again, this market has a lot of proving to do to get above all of these resistances and actually come to test its recent all-time highs. But we've seen it in other markets, we've seen it in other indices. It is very possible for this to be the last one to do that test. And as we look at our volume profile, we see that from the perspective of the 30-day 1 hour, some of this volatility, all we've been doing is testing the VA low and the VA high of this range. So we were sitting at VPOC for extended periods of time, market like this area around 221.50. We came down, tested the low, said no, that's as low as we want to go for now, came back to VPOC, sat around for a little while, came to the upside, tested the upside. It is very possible to come back to VPOC from this perspective. The idea is that VPOC acts as gravity until we get out of this range. So this back and forth action can easily be done over multiple sessions, but we have other perspectives showing a more bullish tone, the weekly coming off the 20, the pennant structure and the retracement breaking bullish, and we have this clear horizontal level that if we do get above, that can facilitate the range breakout and the upside move that most market participants are looking for in, you know, just the overall market. So structure here is cautiously bullish. We're seeing the patterns, we're seeing the levels. What we need to see now is the volume profile getting out of that VA high and then leading to some of this extended trend-based action that we saw in other markets when they moved away from VPOC. So that's where we sit with the IWM. Now, it is earnings week. It is one of many earnings weeks, but it is a very important earnings week. 1 second. So, as we get into earnings week, obviously a lot of volatility is expected. We have some very large market cap names coming out this week, arguably the most important earnings week that we have this cycle. And when we go to the S&P 100, we want to see what are some days and some stocks that can lead to that volatility and can provide opportunity and risk. And just starting today, our first name is going to be Tesla. So after market today, Tesla is reporting Q1 earnings. We want to be hyper aware of the range possibility inside of Tesla and what the market is expecting Tesla to do, both to the upside or the downside. If Tesla were to move in either of those directions, and how far it can move in either of those directions, can, in the short term, dictate some of the SPY range. So Tesla, it dictates a certain market cap inside of the SPY. If Tesla can move upside of 10%, and that 10% is a 1.5% allocation to the SPY, then you can easily calculate roughly how much of that will move the SPY. And some of that price action will be seen in tomorrow's opening session, along with into the remainder of this week, as Tesla sort of digests its earnings. And then from there, we just want to go down the list and see what other names are notable and which ones do we want to be hyper aware of. We have stocks like Google reporting after market tomorrow. We have stocks like Microsoft also reporting after market tomorrow. And then we have some names outside of maybe big tech and big communication. Things like Starbucks are going to facilitate a pretty significant perception of maybe some of those consumer discretionary stocks. We have Triple M, which is a pretty big industrial name and can facilitate some correlation inside of similar companies and similar stocks that have related industries and subject matter areas. We also have Visa. Visa is a relatively big tech name. Not a lot of people necessarily look to it to gauge the big tech names, because it's not the Microsofts, the Apples, the Googles, Facebooks, Amazons, but Visa can showcase consumer spending habits and indication there of relative economic strength based on some of their earning projections and obviously their past earnings inside of Q2. We go down the list. Apple on Wednesday, 428. We have Boeing before market on 428. Once again, pretty indicative of maybe some of the travel sector, and also just whether or not this company is starting to facilitate some of its debt obligations throughout new contracts, or whether or not we're seeing an uptick in production of airliners. We have Facebook, another big tech, quote unquote, name. Technically, it's communications. And then we have QCOM, which is a semiconductor name. So this one could obviously be indicative of, once again, more semiconductor correlation. We saw stocks like Intel last week on Thursday, and technically Intel had decent earnings, but the perception and their future projections were actually perceived as negative, and that led to a drawdown in the stock that we were able to trade on Friday's session. Just real quickly, as we finish up the rest of the week, we have stocks like Amazon after market on 429. We have things like Caterpillar, once again big into the industrial sector. MasterCard, similar to Visa, we want to be looking to those names and see what the overall perception is, along with some of the news coming out from the CEOs. McDonald's, another big name and just a generally large market cap name. And I believe that's everything for Thursday. Into Friday, a couple of additional names. Nothing really highly of note, but maybe some energy with CVS and Exxon, and then Charter Communications, just another name to keep on watch. So lots of names this week. We have a lot of basically volatile binary events that can move this market in either direction. So as we are trapped in a range on the SPY and the Qs, as the IWM is trying to prove itself, And we'll actually look at the NASDAQ really quick. I don't think there's much else outside of the names we covered. We have Tesla, we have AMD. Actually, that's a notable one. That's going to be on Tuesday aftermarket. Stocks like eBay, decent day traders. Don't see too much else that's really going to shift the entire market, but overall, some large names here. As we're stuck in a range in all of these markets, keep in mind that the volatility of these earnings announcements can lead to a range breakout. And if everything else is correlated, that range breakout can move in something like an intraday session. However, as soon as we get the next round of earnings, that range breakout can easily turn back around, come back into the range with the opposite reaction of, let's say, a bad earnings reaction, range breakout to the upside, shoot all the way back down into our range. So this week is likely to be a lot of up and down price action. Volatility is likely to continue to expand over the course of the week as we get more and more earnings. And throughout these sessions, we want to stay cognizant as to what's actually moving the market that day. Is it one stock? Is it multiple stocks all correlated to that one stock's earnings announcement? Or is there sort of a run-up into earnings, as most of these names are reporting tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday? We may see a little bit of just an overall bullish push into earnings, and then obviously the reaction after earnings, we'll see how that settles, and overall just kind of look to where the market wants to settle this week, as this week will be a clear indication of a lot of big market cap names. So overall, this is a week to look at your portfolio. If you're a swing trader, if you're an investor, if you're someone who has risk and your risk is mostly to the downside, you may want to look and see, is there a way to protect myself in the case where a lot of these earnings are perceived negatively and the market wants to pull back heavily into these earnings. So this is a great week to consider looking at hedges. It's a great week to either rope in some of your risk or to at least prepare yourself for that binary event and across these stocks. And then ultimately, if you're someone who trades into earnings, this is a very active week, putting on risk into the earnings and then shortly thereafter using things like options or just having some well-defined risk reward strategies that lead into the earnings announcement itself. Lots of opportunity here, but the theme that I'm bringing to you today is where there's opportunity, there's also risk. So keep everything in check. Don't get too aggressive per se into some of these announcements, and just kind of know where you stand and where the market stands relative to this week. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Today is a great start to the week. We have a lot of things to look forward to, but obviously stay on guard, look at your portfolio, stay well allocated and where you need to be. And if you're someone who wants to avoid a lot of this binary volatility, come back next week and we'll start all over again, but we'll be past a lot of these big market cap names. So with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Stay tuned. We'll have pre-market prep where we'll look at some intraday levels and some opportunities in play. And overall, thanks to everyone for joining. Stay safe out there and trade safe.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Peter. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Carlos. I am doing great. How was your weekend?
Good, good. My weekend was great, man. Let me see. I'm getting some kind of feedback. Let me put this down. Okay. Yeah, weekend was great. Had a really good time. Hopefully you did as well. And we're back at it. Another week, guys, here, getting ready for the trading week. So, uh, Norm is a little bit under the weather today. He's not feeling well, so he will be back tomorrow. So hopefully he gets a little bit better. My camera's off. I do realize that for some reason it's not connecting. We'll figure that out as we go through the show, but I don't want to delay it. Trying to figure out what's going on there this morning. So, all right, guys, let's get to it. Our gappers list this morning, very very interesting. Everything in the green today so far. Nothing gapping down. It looks like everybody's happy. It's Monday. Peter, let's get a little update on the overall market and what's going on today.
Yeah, I'd say it's an odd day that there's absolutely nothing on the red side. So, nothing huge on the economic calendar today that would precipitate a market movement. We've got a couple of small announcements that we will see coming up momentarily, actually, including some durable goods, but they don't tend to move the market. As you can see on the screen, we have some new home sales happening later. Overall, though, as for those of you that attended Jared's Engineering the Markets this morning, you can see that we've got the markets moving up. We've got to be cautious. It's a could be a breakout day, or we could see some retracement. We really have to wait and see what the market's going to bring us. Carlos is about to go through a lot of the stocks we're seeing, and you'll see a lot of continuation of names from Friday. So that's a little interesting to me, and some big volume for a Monday morning. So nothing huge to announce. Really, I think it's going to be news on individual stocks, and of course, anything that might happen intraday. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Looking forward to it for sure. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let me just do change a couple of settings here to make our thing a little more organized. There we go. Okay, let's get to it, guys. Let's look at what we have this morning. I'm going to remove our list from Friday, which actually was not bad. It was a good day Friday. Uh, but let's focus in on what we have today. So we'll get some rows in here. Let's get rid of this slash in our watch list. There we go. And let's start here with SJ, excuse me, SJ, 2.1 million shares flow. So a little bit on the lower side. We had a couple of low flows last week that did very well. This one already has got some action going up 33%, 1.2 million shares traded for a low flow, not looking bad. So we'll add this on here. It's the only low flow I see on our gappers list this morning.
Yeah, this is going to be a momentum play. I don't expect much out of it other than, like, well, I mean, it may move a lot because it's a
Mhm.
Chinese low float stock that's announced they're getting into the NFT game. So they're hitting all the hot buttons that tends to get them traded. It could be volatile, but this is probably going to be a one day wonder.
Yeah, yeah. So again, be very, very careful. This thing has some action in the past before. You can see here, without looking at the pre-market action, gap opened at around $14 from 9, shot up to 18. Who knows when that happened throughout the day? If it was right in the morning or in the middle of the day, but then slammed back down towards the end of the day. Still closing strong if you look at it in the sense of the gap up, but you can see when it gets volume 50 million shares here, you definitely can get some action. So already 1.2, we'll keep an eye on this one. Heading on down, we have PFPT this morning. This looks horrible. It looks like a buyout. So we'll skip on this one. And the reason we say that, guys, if you're new, is that, again, you got the gap up. You got the huge gap up of 32%, and there's just nothing happening here, right? So that's not going to be good for us. OCGN
Yeah,
has
good.
been, yeah, go ahead.
Good call. Good call on that one. It is a buyout at a fixed, looks like a fixed price at $176. So all cash. So yeah, it's not going to move.
Not going to move. And that's why sometimes you hear say is a buyout and it is there's some stocks plays in it. If it's a buyout and it's some stock or half stock or all stocks, there you can find some movement. We've seen some of the trade very well, but for the most part, they're not the best catalyst to day trade. Heading down, OCGN. This one has been very, very active, guys. A couple of insane days here. Thursday, Friday was wild as well. Today they're already added with 9.1 million shares traded, and they're up 17%. So this is looking pretty good. Let's add it to our list. Very active. It has traded well in the past, also for us. Um, Go ahead.
Yeah, the news on this one is that the only news I found was that they are issuing a secondary offering, which normally moves a stock down. However, in this case, they actually issued 10 million shares at $10 a share, which was a premium to the close on Friday. So I think we're seeing that as a bullish sign. We're certainly, this is a momentum stock, right? And it's been moving for the last couple of days. So I think we'll get some more movement out of it today. It certainly looks good so far.
Yep, it surely does, guys. If you look at the daily, it's on a little bit of a run here. The daily's horrible, but you can see here the last couple of days been hanging around $5. Now sitting at 11.34. Let's see if that can stick and get going here. Heading down, Envis. Now, Envis, this was one that I took off on Friday. And man, was I completely wrong on this. Look at this here, guys. This thing just took off. It just looked back and laughed at me and probably put some fingers up. But yeah, look at this guy. This just took off. It was very, very nice. The pre-market wasn't exciting, but this thing traded very well. I know Brian traded it. I think it's Thursday or Wednesday last week. He did very well. Today they're up 12.8 and 3 million shares. So I'm not gonna say anything bad about this one. We can put it on the list. Maybe it's a possible. This thing looks very explosive. The daily's getting interesting. We're getting above this 18 here. Is that what it was, Seth? Wall Street Bets it's on this. So that's what's happening. Okay. We'll put it on here because again, guys, it is very active and it can move well. Just got to be careful, of course, with anything that can move like this. But great volume and turned out to a great trading day there. Mara, yeah, the Bitcoin is up again. I mean, it's just a back and forth action there. So I think they're up a couple of points this morning as far as percentage. And Mara is in play, guys. Up 8.7, 820,000 shares traded so far. We can definitely add this one on our list. Let's see what happens here with the whole Bitcoin sector there. Then we got a few more. We got Riot coming in. Maybe we have Coin. We have CAN. So again, a lot of stuff here in the cryptocurrency up nicely this morning. I'm only going to add Mara. Riot is another good one as well. You can add on there, but I'll keep Mara for now. And I'll think about Riot and those other ones as we are looking into our market open. Laser, LAZR. This one is up 7.3, but I don't really like the pre-market action. Peter, unless you have any kind of great catalyst on this, it doesn't look great. You have this one pop here, this candle here, somebody dropped 53,000 shares. Aside from that, you really don't have anything much going on. This was what created the pop of 7.3, as you can see. And again, I just don't see anything happening here.
Yeah, I got no specific news that would drive it. So it's not been a favorite of mine either. I've never found a good trade in it. So
yeah, so we'll keep that on the side for now. Again, I just don't see it great right now. GRA not looking good, guys. Looks like another possible buyout. Gapped up and hasn't done much. It was halted already, probably on news. You can see here the T for trading resume, but again, doesn't look good, so we'll skip on that one. Also, daily. Even if it was in play, look at the daily, how nasty it is. Doesn't get any volume, under 2 million shares, looks like for the most part. It's just not seeing anything great there. Heading down, PSFE. PSFE, this one up 5%, 132,000 shares traded. Recent IPO, as I can see here, going back into April, end of April or end of March, better said. Yeah, I don't see anything great, guys, so I'm just gonna keep this one off for now. All right, AMC is on here, up 4.6. AMC can be okay. I'm gonna add it on there. They got some good volume, 892,000 shares traded. We'll take a look at that. KOPN. We saw this one last week as well. I did not keep it on the list. I didn't like the way it looked. Let's just see how it's been trading. If we look at the intraday action on Friday, this does not look great. Look at these gaps in between here. That tells me the volume is not trading all that clean here. So you want to be careful with this. So I'll keep it off. If anybody watches that, let us know if it gets better. CAN, this is this crypto as well? I believe, yes. This is crypto as well. Bitcoin, they are up 4.3 with some decent volume. Their pre-market, though, is not looking better than Mara's. They got the same volume, around 800,000, so that's good. Mara's a little bit higher here, but their pre-market looks a little bit tighter, so I like this one a little bit better. CAN could still be a great one. We've done some good trading on that in the past. Maybe we'll put that as a possible. Here's Coin. Peter, have you been trading any Coin lately? Have you touched this at all, or?
I have not. No, it was a little odd on the IPO open day, and then ever since, yeah, the spread on it is pretty high. So you've got to have a high tolerance for big moves if you want to trade this. So this morning the pre-market doesn't look fantastic. A lot of gaps in it, but I'm thinking it is going to be a good trader in the future. I think John has actually been trading it for his high of day breaks. So, but for me right now, not something I'm actively in.
Gotcha. All right. So we're going to keep that off the list for now. But if you guys are into that one, you can put that in on your list. BNGO, this has been also very active the last couple of days as well, gapping up and down. Right now, pre-market doesn't look all that great, so I'm gonna keep it off. It had a couple of good days here last week. Today not looking all that exciting. CHPT is the EV play here. They are up 3% after getting slammed down a couple of times here. The entire month of April, really, this whole entire month, they've just been getting slammed. So they're getting a little bit of a relief here. They has a couple of good days here we saw last week. They traded very well. A lot of stuff was bouncing back because it's just being so beat up. Pre-market's okay. It's not great. So we'll keep it off for now. Fuel cell, let's see if that one looks a little bit better. I think this one has more potential for a possible EV play. And I see some people throwing out NIO. We'll definitely look at that in a second here. NNDM, let's take a look at this. No, this is not good. This is coming up on our list quite a bit. And every time I look, I don't see anything great on it. So I take it off. Intraday action, I mean, looks okay. Looks like a couple of days were all right here. See, but this drop here, I won't give this too much credit because everything dropped on this day. So it doesn't matter, right? You could have played you could play the Apple or anything else that it's going to give you better liquidity and great price action. So that's not it. Last but not least, let's look at Plug. Plug has been very exciting. I do like Plug this morning. I like their daily. I know their pre-market action doesn't look great, but they can possibly get going if we're looking to find a bottom here on Plug. Things are up this morning, a lot of green. So let's see if Plug, and we'll look at NIO. If these guys want to get going today again, they're getting a little bit of a bounce, and NIO has been trading very well. Good price action, good volume. I want to watch this one today as well, see how they start out the week. Peter, what do you like this morning on your end?
Well, I got to go with the old standby. So AMD looks good to me.
Yes.
It actually does look good in that.
I was going to say. I was gonna say, see, you always put it on your list, but today it actually does look very good. This daily looks nice, so I'm gonna add this.
A little bit of market movement, and this thing could break out to the top side. We'll see if it can get up over 84, 85, and we might have a runner today. We'll see. AMD, as we said, always on my list. The only, no, I think you mentioned everything else. We have a couple of things with earnings this morning. None of them look fantastic, but if you guys are following earnings, definitely Otis, OTIS reported, not often a great trader, but it had earnings which may move it today. And the other one was interesting was the Bank of Hawaii, BOH, just because I thought it sounded fun. But
Bank of Hawaii.
Bank of Hawaii. It's certainly not moving pre-market, but and it's not usually like a huge trader intraday, like very low volume. But again, it just sounded fun. So, but that's it.
All right, so that is all we have here, guys. Let's see what's gapping down. GSX, and we know this one doesn't trade very well. It's the only gapping down this morning on our list. Let's just make sure this is live. Yeah, it is. So, all right, cool. Everybody's in the green for the most part. All right, guys, let's start with our chat room. We'll start over here with our good old buddy Edwin. He's giving us Apple. Apple will be a good one to watch either way today. Actually, their daily does look good, but this is one that we want to keep on deck just the way this market has been trading. But Apple's overall daily looks very, very nice. We had a bottom out here, consolidation happening, broke out at 125. We had that level here, a good area of resistance and support. Now we got a new consolidation range around 135 down to 132-ish or so. And we're at the top of this range now. So let's see if we can break out and move towards the next one. So that'll be nice depending how this market is going to be moving. Pre-market looks decent, a great volume. That's a good one for today. Next, we have AMD we do have on deck, and we agree the daily does look very good. AMD earnings tomorrow on AMD. Okay, nice. That should be interesting. Apple we do have CCL. Let's take a look here. Yeah, CCL looks interesting on the daily. The overall daily on CCL looks interesting for a possible breakout. Maybe start hitting some of these highs we had in the past here. Right, we got a couple of peaks here that we created in the last 2 months or so. But as far as the pre-market action right now and everything else, I really do not see it in play, and the volume is very light, only at 370. So we got to get a little more volume in here, a little more action. We can keep this one onto the side for now. If it gets any better, if it hits our scanners or we see some of the travel stuff moving, we can surely take a look at that. Tiger this morning, they're up 1.3, 180. I don't see the stock trading very well though. The last couple of days, it's been very, very choppy. On Friday, it looks like they might have had a good day. Friday, yeah, it looks like they had a nice breakout Friday here. But for the most part, I'm not sure. I do like this possible breakout here of 2120. It's not one to put on my main list. I just don't like the way this one trades for overall, but I'm gonna put it as a secondary. We take a second look at that, see how that's gonna turn out. BOH on news, yeah, but that we looked at that one, doesn't look great at all. Doesn't look like it's going to be is a good intraday trader, trading stock. INTC. This was very active last week, as you know, guys. Huge gap down here, and actually, I know the candles don't show it, but it actually traded very well. There's some good opportunities here on Friday. So possible second day continuation one way or the other. Not sure what it wants to do here. They have higher than usual volume for their pre-market. INTC normally doesn't trade very well. But again, you can see here 219,000 shares traded right now. Could be interesting after such a big gap down. And what was this, Peter? You remember, was it earnings? I don't recall what dropped them last week.
Intel, yeah, well, they had actually, yeah, it was a positive earnings, but the CEO came out and said that he was expecting the chip shortage to last another 2 years, and I think that those comments sort of caused some concern through the market, and yeah, caused Intel to drop.
Yeah, so we're seeing that drop there. Okay, I see a couple of you guys throwing out American Airlines on both chats in our main chat and also in over on YouTube. American Airlines this morning, they're up 1.8, 807,000 shares traded. Yeah, it looks okay. Very similar to CCL. Again, we like this heavy volume on these stocks early on. I think they're just kind of waiting around to see what the market's going to be like today. Now, American Airlines does have a nice consolidation here between 20 and 21. Possible breakout, maybe get out of this consolidation they've been having here. We'll have to see. But this is a very, I don't know. I like to see better on American Airlines. I'll put it as a possible. We'll come back to it. I agree, Matthew. It just looks okay for now. BLNK. Let's take a look there. This one, I don't like Blink as much as the other EV plays. So if you like this one, keep it on deck. I don't like the volume right now. Anyways, to begin with, it's very low, up only 1.4. But again, we know EV has been a big conversation lately, especially with the hit they've been taking. You know, are they bottoming out here and looking for a pop towards the top? So I do like Plug. I'm going to be looking at that one. I do have that one on the list. I think that one trades a little bit better. One of the cleaner ones in that whole EV play compared to NIO as well. I do have NIO. They have great volume already, up 2%. That would be a good one for today. TOT, we've seen this one before, guys. I think it is foreign, but either way, it is a horrible daily. And the reason we say that is because look at these gaps all over the place here. That does not look good. Very light on the volume. If you go down to the volume bars, you see that they rarely get above, you know, my line right there is at 3.6 million. They rarely get above that. That's not good. We need volume, especially on a stock that's moving between, 45 and what's the end of this, 44. That's a big range. And you're doing that with only 2.3 million shares traded. That's not good. That's not going to be a clean price action. You might also have some pretty bad spreads in there. So that's the only issue with that one. All right, let's see here.
On YouTube, did you look at BNTX? No volume yet today, but I mean on that daily, it's been gunning. So
it's been ripping. Yeah. The funny thing though is this is not a good intraday trading stock because we had it before in the past. The price action is a little bit funky, but this reminds me a little bit of what was that other one? Was it JMIA? What was the one that just ripped for like days? No, it wasn't this one. JKS. There we go. You guys remember this one, JKS? Look at this.
Jinko Solar.
Yeah, just insane. But while it was doing this, the price action was horrible. So yes, this looks great now, but we had it on our radar. Every time we looked at it, it was like, you know what, this doesn't look good for intraday trading. Not sure if BNTX is going to be like that today. They definitely has got an interesting daily here, ripping nicely. Look at the pre-market action, though. The volume is a little bit lighter. We'll see. Normally I won't add this. Let's put it on here just to take a closer look later. See if that gets any better. All right, let's see what else we have, guys. Snap, let's take a look at that. I know Snap was active a couple of days ago as well. Today, they're not showing a whole lot. going on. Pretty much flat right now, 138,000 shares traded, but I'm not seeing anything great right now on it. So I'll have to put it on the side for now. All right, let's see what else we have here, guys. SKLZ. SKLZ, this is not looking too good at the moment. Again, it's kind of flat right now. They got some volume, but not doing nothing as far as the range in the pre-market at the moment. Laser we did look at, guys. It didn't look great, so we took that one off. PLTR about to break. Let's take a look at that one. PLTR. Yeah, it's, I mean, their pre-market action is ugly though. I have to say this. It's getting a little bit better here. I do see that. They're looking to break out from their pre-market high here and also the high from the last 2 trading days. So hopefully that can be exciting. But I mean, Peter, we know how bad this stock can trade. It's just such a mess to put it on our list sometimes, how choppy it can be. We'll add it on here, but I probably won't keep that one as a final. All right, let's take a look at a few more, guys. Tesla. Yeah, Tesla's in play. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tesla's always an interesting one. I mean, some people have it on their list permanently. I understand why. It tends to move well. You just have to be prepared for, you know, a little bit of spread gap. But you know, it's always a player. It's a reasonable stock. Just you know, high price though.
Yeah. Today is definitely in play, guys. I see this on here. I want to make a bet that I see John and Mike will put this on their list today, because just the way they trade.
I think it's a little high price for them, but I'm not sure.
Oh no, John trades it all the time.
John does it? Okay.
Oh yeah, he loves Tesla. You'll see. Let's see what happens. You take the opposite side of that bet, and we'll do $1 on it next time I see you. All right, perfect, guys. Tesla is on there. Let's see what happens. Let's take a few over from YouTube, and then we'll switch it over to community events. It is Monday, so we do have Dr. Katz joining us shortly as well. Let's take a look here. So we have SYPR, lots of activity Friday. Yes, this was very active Friday. I do recall that. I did not watch it, but it was very active Friday. Today, I'm not seeing anything great pre-market wise. Look at the difference between Friday and today, right? So you did get a lot of action here. I'm not seeing a whole lot today. And the volume was a lot more Friday, I believe. So it could be a hit or miss, guys. This thing could just take off. These stocks tend to do that. What is the float on this one? SYPR. It is sitting at 11.7. So 11 million shares flow. So yeah, it doesn't look great right now. Doesn't have great volume, but that could change in a heartbeat. So if you like this one, keep it on deck. I'm not going to put it. Our low float today of the day is going to be SJ, which is kind of dropping down here a little bit, but they have 2 million shares traded. They're up 24%. They're looking pretty decent there. NIO seems to be, NIO is in play, guys. I do have that one on here at 1.2, very similar to Tesla. These things are coming up. They've been beat up quite a bit, especially NIO more than anything. 1.2 right now, 2.1. Great pre-market action. Tesla is good. We have that on deck. RESN. RESN. Let's take a look there. No volume, guys. Only 2,000 shares traded. So I don't like to see something like this with no volume at the moment. What else we have? CLOV. Let's take a look there. CLOV. This one, volume is light. Daily is not great. We had this on our list before. And pre-market action, let's zoom out a little bit here. The pre-market action is really not great, guys. It's just nothing going on there as far as pre-market action. Right, let's stop here. American Airlines, Apple. Someone is suing Apple. Someone is suing Apple all the time. Maybe someone big now is making some noise is suing Apple, but they get sued. These guys, these big companies, it's like they have a department of where all the lawsuits go into. You know, it's just what happens, right? But they're doing well. Whatever lawsuit it is, they like it. They're doing nice here. They're up pretty nice this morning. They were in the red, in the green now. Apple's going to be a good one to keep watching. All right, let's go over to community announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list after the community announcements and also Dr. Katz. Guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We really appreciate it.
Okay, well, guys, we've got another week upon us. So last week of April, as we head into May here, we have our usual schedule of activities, starting with our onboarding class that happens tonight with Carlos. During the day in the trade room, we will have Brian that usually does a swing trade review and market overview. That'll be this afternoon. And then we go on with our slate of training activities with our webinars Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday with Thor Mentorship. So hopefully you will join us for those. If you're eager to join here as a member and you haven't already, we will give you some information a little bit later about how to do that. In addition to all these scheduled activities, we always have running our women's BBT Slack group. Just want to remind you, for anybody who's a female trader out there, you just have to email Tiffany at Tiffany@Bearable Traders, and she can enable you to get access to that Slack group in addition to the chat room. I think it's a great resource. It's fantastic that it's available out there. So, looking at specifically then what we've got going on this week. Here we go. So this week tomorrow night, we will have, like I mentioned, webinars starting with our focusing on the TI Strength Algo. So we got a guest from Trade Ideas, the name of Michael Naus. Now, Michael is going to be joining us and talking about how you can leverage trade ideas and use it to get some benefit to your trading. So that's our sort of technical webinar that we do every Tuesday night. That's at 8 o'clock. And then on a week Tuesday at an early time, remember, whenever Eamon presents, it's usually earlier, so it's going to be 5 o'clock on Tuesday, May the 4th. Eamon's going to be talking about how to trade his parabolic reversals. Now, this is the second part of a series he's done, so I'd advise you to go back and look at the first part, but you can also watch this as a standalone. I have adapted Eamon's parabolic reversals myself for a number of trades. So Eamon is he shares a lot of information in his sessions. So you got to pay attention. Come ready next week at 5 o'clock for that webinar. Then in our psychology series on Wednesday, we will be doing our shrink wrap town hall with Dr. Katz. So the town halls are always good because you get to hear the perspective of a number of other traders. So he'll be doing another town hall this Wednesday, the 28th of April, usual time, 8 o'clock in the webinar room. Hopefully you'll join us there. As I mentioned, actually I was talking about joining, but we do have our trade of the week. So every week we like to celebrate those that have fantastic trades. And we see so many of them in the trade room that we asked a number of our members to say, would you be willing to share your trade on Twitter? And they will go and post it on Twitter. And if you're a member in the room and you're trading live, we're looking for live trades, so they shouldn't be in sim. We ask you to share your trade on Twitter. Use the hashtag @BearableTraders, @MikeB_BBT, and @NormBBT. And use those are the tags, and then the hashtags, hashtag BBT family, hashtag day trading, and hashtag stock market, just so we can find it. And what we do is Mike and Norm will go through and they will judge what they think is the best trade of the day. We announce it as the trade of the day here in the room every afternoon, and then we pick amongst the trades of the day for the trade of the week. Geez, I'm having trouble talking this morning. Anyways, we use those announcements, and you get the glory of being not only the trade of the day, but the good trade of the week. Yeah. Bob was mentioning that my camera's always sideways. It's funny. It's just the way the camera's positioned. It makes the wall look crooked. I'm actually pretty straight here. Is that better?
I think we'd rather have you straight than the wall. but listen here. It is Monday. You're just starting up the engine. It is, it's one of those days.
Anyways, we're having one of those days. But guys, it does get better. Trust me. And we do live trading here in the room. Stop playing with the camera. All week. So if you want to join us, there's a lot of value, right? Not only do you have the live trading all market hours, we have the pre-market show that you can participate and talk in the chat. We also have, of course, our webinars, our psychology and technical webinars, our strategy webinars, all of that you get access to. Hopefully you will join us for that. If you just want to try it out, use the code PREMARKET24 for a $24 one-week trial. Now that gives you access to the chat room and our welcome and introduction webinar that Carlos does on Monday night, and he'll be doing this evening. That'll give you a taste for the room. If you like what you see, and we're confident you will, then join us as an elite member. That gives you full access to all of our material, everything we produce. Use the code SPRING40 and you can get 40% off our elite membership. So hopefully you will join us here soon, and we can talk with you in the chat as well as through YouTube just at the open. All right, with that, we got some levels to do. Then we'll talk about what our moderator picks are. But before we do all of that, it is Monday, and that means it's Mindful Monday. and it's time for us to talk with Dr. Katz, who's always here to share his wisdom, maybe give us a humorous tale from the weekend. See, now I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, Peter, I think your being in for Norm today shows how strong the BBT bench is. And even though I wouldn't ever consider you a second stringer, but it's nice to see you as always. How about
I
that
was
for a
trying not to
backhanded
get.
compliment on a Monday morning?
There you go. I was trying to get too offended when he called me a second stringer, but then I thought, you know what? It's a fair comment, so that's all good.
Oh, good. Well, Peter, today, and everybody out there, there was an article I was reading by the psychologist Adam Grant about a week or two ago in the New York Times that I thought I would talk about. Um, and he titled the article, "There's a Name for the Blah You Are Feeling. It's called Languishing." And he says the neglected middle child of mental health can dull your motivation and focus, and it may be the dominant emotion of 2021. And I thought this was very relevant just for people in general. And I think as I talk about this for a few minutes, you people can see the potential impact not only on your trading, but on one's personal life. And Grant talks about the conversations he's had with friends, kind of what they've been experiencing this past year or so. And a lot of people have talked about with the pandemic, kind of this past year, a decrease in people's level of concentration, their general kind of decrease in excitement. And again, even this with vaccines, a lot of people being vaccinated and vaccines coming. And it really wasn't burnout. People still talked about having some energy. It wasn't really depression. There wasn't really any hopelessness. But what he felt it was really kind of this concept of languishing, which is kind of a sense of stagnation and emptiness. And it feels like you're kind of middling through your days. You're looking at your life through what he described as kind of a foggy windshield. And he felt this was kind of the dominant theme that he was seeing this past year, or, last 12 months. And there's a lot of struggles, with the emotional long haul of the pandemic. And I think we all have adapted over time to some degree. But, some things have dragged on, and the acute state of anguish really has given way to kind of a more chronic condition of this kind of languish. In psychology, we often think about mental health on a spectrum of kind of depression on the really difficult end, and flourishing on the really positive, optimistic end. And flourishing is kind of the peak of well-being, and depression is the kind of the valley of ill-being and being despondent or drained. And Grant talks about languishing as he described it, I think very appropriately, as kind of the neglected middle child. It's the void between depression and flourishing. It's the absence of kind of well-being, no major mental illness symptoms, but not a picture of mental health. People experiencing low motivation, kind of decreased focus, not really working at the level they're used to be. And research has shown that people most likely to experience major depression and anxiety disorders in the next 10 years or so are probably people who are experiencing languishing now. And performance, when people experiencing languish, I think part of the difficulty is that you don't really notice this, the symptoms and the slippage. So I wanted to talk maybe about a few things that could help with this. I think, first of all, naming what you're feeling sometimes is difficult, but it could be a first step of recognizing it, and that you're not alone, and that this languishing is a common thing that a lot of people feel, and there's a shared feeling. So I think recognizing kind of what you're going through can just be liberating in itself. The next step that can help kind of combat this, or an antidote to it, is really kind of the elusive state of being a flow. It's absorbing yourself, it's being connected, that emotional bond that really can immersion in what you're doing. I mean, this is like the holy grail that a lot of us try to experience, whether you're out there running, playing tennis, or trading. You want to be in the moment. But you want to kind of find a ways to be really engaged. That's really helpful. Because often during this languishing period, your attention is fragmented, and that's really the enemy of engagement and excellence. And I think one of the ways to do this is really giving yourself some, this is not necessarily during the trading day, but give yourself some uninterrupted time. Try to find some joy and motivation. I think the key is for us to feel a sense of progress. If you're starting to feel like you're handling things better, even if it's only going 15 miles an hour and not 60, that usually gives people some more optimistic sense of themselves. So really focus essentially on the small goals, take the small wins. Languishing is not merely in your head, it's in our circumstances. And we still live in a world that often normalizes physical health challenges, but often stigmatizes mental health challenges. And it's really time for us to rethink our understanding of mental health and well-being. And not being depressed doesn't mean that we're not struggling. So I think people just need to give voice to what they're experiencing and try to find small wins, small steps, and small bits of progress that we can all experience to start to feel better.
Well, thank you as always, Dr. Katz. And you're right. You know, I read that article as well. It was going around in the mental health circles last week, and it really struck a note, I think, with so many people, because you're right. Like, I don't feel bad, but I don't feel good either. So, you know, it's great to see that, or have you pick it up and mention it. One, we were talking about an article from the New York Times that look up New York Times languishing, and you should be able to find the article. It was a great one that we're referring to here.
Adam Grant is the author. Yeah.
There you go. Adam Grant. So thank you anyways for sharing your thoughts on that. And hopefully we will be able to take advantage that once you can identify it, you can better deal with it. So thank you. Sir.
Very good, Peter. You and everybody have a good week.
You too.
All right, here we go. Yep, now I'm back on. All right, perfect. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at our list here. We have this morning, I was looking at GSX because someone mentioned this in the chat room, and just look at the crazy pop we had here, 2650 all the way up to 2850. So getting some action there. We'll add it on here just to take a look at it as a possible, see if that comes up with anything else for us. All right, let's take a look quickly at what we have here. OCGN is very active, guys. 11.4 million shares traded already. Pre-market action is okay, but we know this one could be very explosive, so we'll keep an eye on this one. Let's get rid of some of these levels. We'll do some new ones. Here is Mara. This one is good as well. Possible Bitcoin play here. Bitcoin is up this morning, so we're seeing a lot of these. Mara, CAN also up as well. Plug is looking real nice, guys. Probably one of my favorite ones this morning with the pre-market action. Right now, the way we're looking at that, the day looks good also, so I like what's happening there. NEO looks very good, also very strong right now, 2.1, good volume as well. AMD, guys, with Peter on today, AMD is looking amazing, so looking really good here. A nice pop, great volume as well, up 1.1. I think our entire list here looks good. I think this will be my main list this morning, so let's head on down, look at the possible, see if there's anything that looks better than what we have here already. If you notice, everything here in our main list at the top has a good gap up percentage, right? Besides Apple, but Apple's kind of dug itself out of the red here. So if, you know, it looks pretty good there as far as pre-market action. And they have great volume. Almost all of them above for 500,000, almost a SEC plug, but we know plug can trade very well. Secondary list, GSX starting to get going. We'll keep an eye on that one. Tesla's another good one as well. If you don't like NEO, you can trade Tesla. If you don't like Tesla, NEO's another possible one. BNTX, again, this was gapping down nice. I like the gap down of 4.2. I like the volume on it. I'm sorry, I don't like much the volume. It's starting to get going, 94. But just the pre-market action, guys, it's just not looking good. So I'm going to get rid of it for today. TAIGR starting to get going here. I do like the daily on this one. Pre-market action is okay. I think this could be a great possible. Might even turn into a good primary stock to watch. Envis this morning is decent, guys. A great day on Friday. This can be very explosive, has great volume. We'll keep an eye on that one. AMC, I'm going to remove AMC from my list. CAN, I'm going to remove it as well. I do like the way Mavra is trading a little bit better, so we'll get rid of that one. Fuel Cell is decent. We got a couple of EV plays here. Fuel Cell is one of them. INTC could be interesting, but I'm going to take this one off my list. I know this ticker very well. If it hits our turbo breakup scanners or breakdown, we can take a look at it there. Also, any other of our volume identifiers on the trade ideas. We can look at that. American Airlines, I don't think that this travel sector is in play, and a lot of the stocks that were being called out look kind of like this one, right? They had a good day on last week. They're looking to bounce back a little bit here. I think a lot of them are just kind of waiting to see how's the market going to be like today. So in that case, you want to watch stocks that can move very well. Apple, Tesla, NIO, these stocks are going to be very explosive. They got the volume already. So yes, like American Airlines does look like it can trade very well, especially if the market is strong. But there's some other ones that are trading nice already that if the market is going to be strong, are hopefully going to trade better. So since they're not in play on their own right now, I'm going to take them off my secondary list. PLTR, I'm going to take this one off, guys. I know it can trade so well. But it's just reduce our list. I'm going to get rid of this one too. And then here we have the low flow of the day. I don't think we found a better low flow than SJ today, although they're not looking too good right now. They're dropping down. We like to see these low flows hold the support here. They lost it a little bit down to 1162 as support right now. We'll see if it's going to hold us. But that's the one that has a lot of volume, 2.4, and is sitting at what was this? SJ, excuse me. 2.1 million shares flow. So all right, there we go. All right, good morning, guys. Yep, if you're just joining us, let's go over our levels now. And please make sure over on YouTube you hit that thumbs up. It helps us. It helps me, Peter, Norm, and everyone here. So highly, highly appreciated. OCGN, let's take a look at levels. High of the pre-market, 1250. That is good. Let's throw a level there. And towards the bottom, the low of the pre-market just created around 8 a.m., 1079. So we'll throw a level there as well. So that looks good for right now. Towards the top, guys, we do have a level here, 1456, and obviously all the way up here at 1880. That's a stretch. We can also mark down the close of this day over the previous day. That would have been a close of the day here of 1579. So that looks good. There was very explosive the last couple of days, Thursday and Friday. We saw some good action out of this. And although this candle shows like this, it actually traded very well. Actually traded very, very well. So if you look at the intraday action, there was some good opportunities there. Here's Mara, guys. Bitcoin is in play. They're up this morning. Low of the pre-market 33.82. High of the pre-market just slightly below the high from 2 days ago, over at 35.50. So I'm going to mark that down as well. Let's keep an eye on it there. And then towards the bottom, you're pretty much covered, guys. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days are taking care of you there. And then towards the top, if we get above the highs from, look at this area of resistance here, right? Around 35.50 looks like. A couple of days just couldn't get above that, then we had to slam down. The next level I see here on the daily that looks very good is this one here, 37.63 towards the top. Great area of support here. As you can see, that was great support. Had a little bit of resistance here, not much, but the support there was amazing. So that can become great resistance now. Here's Plug, guys. I like Plug this morning. I like their daily. They've been getting slammed down. They found some support down here on 24, 25. So they're getting a little bit of some breathing room here. Yeah, on Friday they had a good day. Looking for a possible continuation today, like many stocks are, because we had a nice end to the week on Friday with the SPY and the overall market being very strong. 28.80 high of the pre-market. We're kind of slamming against that right now. Again, above that, if we look at this daily, we do have let's see, the best one here probably will be this one. 30, because you do have some support here. You do have some type of resistance here as well. This one is not as strong. This 29 at 38. I won't put too much weight on it, but it is a level. But it's not going to be like a 30. 30, you got support, you got resistance. That's going to be a good one for you. But let's get that 29, 30, 38 there as well, just to have a level there between this gap. If we do decide to go up, $2 move here on a $28 stock is a very big deal. Here's NIO, guys. NIO very active in the pre-market. 1.5 million shares traded. High of the pre-market is 42. Let's look towards the top here, see what we have above that. Look at the high of the pre-market. It's great level there. You got some resistance over here, some support happening there as well. Towards the top, the next clean level I see is going to be 43. 43, also great area of support as well. Above that, just in case it's going to be that type of day, 44.65 looks very good as well. Tons of resistance happening there. So we've been talking about NIO, right? It's been kind of winding down to a point here. It did that last week. Then we had the beautiful breakout, couple of green days back to back here. Can we continue on this strength that we're seeing here on NIO and a lot of the EV plays here? Here's AMD, guys, looking good. Was just kind of slamming its head back and forth within this range. We're looking to break out today. We're up 1%. High of the pre-market sitting at 87, 83.76. and then slightly above that, we already have 84 here. That still looks good. Yeah, 84, maybe a little bit higher right over here. 84.73. We have 86.89, which still looks very good. So yeah, got a couple of levels there. And then towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days are looking pretty good there. Got you covered. All right, Apple. Apple is next. Beautiful daily on Apple, guys. We had a beautiful breakout. We created a new range here of consolidation. We're looking to hopefully break out of that today. So, and this is a stock to watch at all times, especially with the way the market is trading. You know, if the market's strong one way or the other, Apple tends to follow suit. Right now, high of the pre-market, 134.76. Above that, you have the highs from yesterday. Yeah, this is the highs from yesterday. So you have there, and then slightly above that, we have this 137.85, which I think is too far out. But if you look at this daily, if you look at between these levels, right, between the high of actually all these days here, this resistance area, above that, you don't have anything clean. The days are all over the place. Maybe here, I won't put too much weight on it, but this 136.36, you got a couple of days hitting that with their, with their wicks here, and also opening and closing around that area. But again, I won't put too much weight. The 137 is a whole lot better. Obviously, gray area of resistance there. And then this level here, if we can break out of this gray area of resistance, which is our pre-market high now looks like, and the highs from all these days here, that could be interesting as well. All right, let's take a look. Possibles are looking good. GSX here is just taking off. Peter, any news on GSX that they're getting so much activity right now?
I don't know. I hadn't looked into them. Let's take a quick look and see if I could find anything. Oh, they're gonna change their symbol. Well, that's interesting. Why is that? Hold on a sec. They're gonna change from GSX to GOTU next week. So I don't know why that would cause a jump, but they're gonna hide under a different name, are they?
That's positive news for them. So guys, on next week, we're going to change the BBT channel name, the pre-market show name, to something else, and hopefully we get more likes. I mean, is that how this works? What's happening? Oh man, the catalysts are just beautiful. All right, guys, let's go in here. Let's look at our moderators lineup. We got quite a bit in here today, and I am looking for John. Yeah, what I told you, John, Tesla, Mike, Tesla. You owe me $1, buddy. All right, let's get to it.
Here, I got it right here. 1 Canadian loonie for you.
No, we said I should have specified it was US dollar I wanted.
Okay, sure. I'll throw a Canadian quarter in too. There you go. There's $1.
There you go. All right, John, guys, he's looking at high day breakout, Tesla and coin this morning. Mike is looking at mRNA, coin, and Tesla. Eamon likes Apple, IWM, BYND, INTC, PFE, and GSX, which is taking off pretty nice right now, hitting 32.50 as their high. We have Dima. She is looking at a fuel cell plug, Mara, and Apple this morning. No IPOs for this Monday. So we have Tiffany next with Plug, Neo, and Tesla. We have Peter with AMD, Neo, Apple, and secondary list Plug, Mara, OCG, and SJ for the low flow for today. So you like this morning. So, all right, guys, pretty good list. I think it's going to be exciting to see how the market overall is going to be. Oh, Peter coming in here with the buzzer beater. Envis, Fuel Cell, SQ, and Laser, TIGR as well on his list. So, all right, guys, that's what we have. I think we have a pretty good list. OCGN, Mara, Plug, Neo, AMD, and Apple are on here. Thank you so much for joining us over on YouTube. Brian is up next. He's going to be working on what he likes this morning, how he's setting up. Tonight, we have the onboarding class. Do not forget. So if you have not joined us before on YouTube to see what our community is like, you can do that. Sign up for the 7-day trial. You get access to our webinar this morning on onboarding, and also 7 days of the chat and kind of see what the environment is like. I'm guarantee you will definitely love it. So make sure you hit that thumbs up, guys. We really appreciate it. Subscribe, and we will see you guys tonight or tomorrow at 8 a.m. starting with Engineering the Markets with Jared.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great trading day.
Take care, everyone.